lemon. The oranges. What else? The basketball. That weird plant thing. The drum. Oh, the polka dot rug.
What you doing, Lolo?
I'm trying to see how many things I can find that are round.
Oh, your eye.
Want to try?
Oh, yes, please. This is so cool. Want to see how many things we can find this afternoon that are round?
A merry-go-round going up and down, a bright carousel of color and sound. Arms out wide, let's go enjoy the ride. A ballet dancer twirling faster, spinning top, the turning master. Eyes closed tight, spin with all your might. Spinning round and round and round, topsy-turvy upside down. Spinning round and round, toes barely touch the ground. Spinning round and round and round, topsy-turvy upside down. Spinning round and round and round and round and round. A hula hoop goes loop-de-loop, a basketball to roll and scoop. Pass and play and spin throughout the day. A green yo-yo spins fast or slow, a rolling pin on cookie dough. Let's spin around until we all fall down. Spinning round and round and round, topsy-turvy upside down. Spinning round and round, toes barely touch the ground. Spinning round and round and round, topsy-turvy upside down. Spinning round and round and round and round and round. Upside down, inside out, everything goes roundabout. Getting dizzy, feeling funny, topsy-turvy in my tummy. Spinning round and round and round, topsy-turvy upside down. Spinning round and round, toes barely touch the ground. Spinning round and round and round, topsy-turvy upside down.